Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine two black men who grew up on the same block, went to the same schools, faced the same challenges, and started life with almost identical opportunities. The first guy always looks like he's winning. Every new pair of Jordans, he has them. Designer clothes, expensive watch, spotless luxury car. His social media is filled with vacations, VIP sections, and the kind of lifestyle that makes everyone think he's made it. The second guy is different. Most days he's wearing a plain t-shirt, driving an older, reliable car, and you rarely see him posting online. From the outside, he doesn't look wealthy at all. Now jump ahead 10 years. The first guy is still renting an apartment. He's still living paycheck to paycheck. The car is still financed. Every month feels like another performance, another attempt to keep up appearances. The second guy owns rental property. He's fully funded, his Roth IRA year after year. His investment accounts continue to grow, and his net worth has climbed well past $200,000. Same neighborhood, same starting point, completely different outcome. The difference wasn't intelligence, it wasn't luck, it wasn't even a bigger paycheck. It came down to one decision, a choice most of us were never taught to make. The decision to stop trying to look rich and start actually building wealth. Welcome to Grow Black Finances. Today we're having the conversation that too many people avoid. There's something nobody includes when they post those perfectly curated lifestyle photos. That designer belt cost hundreds of dollars. Those luxury shoes cost over $1,000. The BMW payment is several $100s every single month. That vacation everyone admired on Instagram may have gone straight onto a credit card, charging more than 20% interest. But nobody posts that part. Nobody uploads a picture of their credit card balance. Nobody shares the overdraft notification or the stress that hits when bills are due and the numbers don't work. Because the entire image economy depends on one thing: your insecurity. Luxury brands, advertisers, and companies aren't simply selling products. They're selling the feeling of success. They're selling status. They're selling the belief that owning certain things will finally earn you respect. And far too often, we become some of their best customers. Research has consistently shown that Black consumers spend a larger share of their income on visible status purchases, things like clothing, cars, jewelry, and electronics, than white consumers earning similar incomes. The paycheck may be similar, but where that money goes can be dramatically different. That doesn't make anyone lazy. It doesn't make anyone irresponsible. And it certainly doesn't mean people aren't smart. For many families, these choices are rooted in generations of being told, directly and indirectly, that they had to work harder, look better, and prove themselves before they would be taken seriously. So naturally, many people buy what they believe is the uniform of success. The problem is that the uniform often costs more than the wealth it's trying to represent. Today, we're going to look at the 3 financial traps that leave so many people looking successful while quietly struggling financially. The first trap is materialism, choosing appearances over ownership. If you're spending more on how you look than on what you actually own, you're caught in this trap. Now let me be clear. There's nothing wrong with dressing well. There's nothing wrong with buying something nice or enjoying your money. That's not the issue. The issue is the order. Buying luxury items can absolutely make sense, but only after you've built a solid emergency fund, paid down high-interest debt, and consistently invested for retirement. At that point, a designer purchase becomes a reward for building a strong financial foundation. Too often, though, we reverse the process. We buy the luxury bag first. We finance the expensive car first. We book the vacation first. Then we wonder why there's never enough left to invest. People who build lasting wealth understand a simple principle. Assets come before appearances. They buy investments before luxury. They purchase appreciating assets before depreciating ones. They build stock portfolios, retirement accounts, and real estate holdings first. Then, once those assets begin creating wealth on their own, they enjoy the rewards. The truth is, you can't solve a spending problem by earning more money. Every raise disappears if your lifestyle grows just as fast. So ask yourself one honest question. How much money have you spent over the past year on clothes you barely wear, vehicles meant to impress other people, or purchases that looked exciting for a social media post but quickly lost their value? Now imagine if that exact amount had been invested in a low-cost index fund and left alone for the next 20 years. That's the real cost. The second trap is short-term thinking, living for today while sacrificing tomorrow. This one is especially dangerous because it rarely feels irresponsible. You're not buying luxury brands every weekend. You're just grabbing dinner with friends, taking a quick trip, going to concerts, enjoying life. There's nothing wrong with any of those things by themselves. The problem begins when every financial decision favors immediate enjoyment instead of long-term security. Building wealth requires a mindset that many working families, regardless of race, were simply never taught to develop. Most people can clearly picture what they're doing this weekend, but they struggle to imagine where they'll be financially 20 years from now. That's one of the biggest differences between people who build wealth and people who don't. Wealthy people aren't simply earning more money. They're thinking much further ahead. They make today's financial decisions based on the life they want 10, 20, or even 30 years from now. Putting $400 a month into an index fund isn't exciting. It won't get attention on social media. Nobody's going to congratulate you for making that deposit. But over several decades, that simple habit can grow into hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's the power of playing the long game. One of the biggest differences between a scarcity mindset and a wealth-building mindset is having a clear destination. People focused on building wealth don't just say, "I want to be rich someday." They know exactly what they're working toward. They have a target net worth, a timeline, a strategy, a roadmap that tells them where they're going and how they plan to get there. Think about it. No one would build a house without a blueprint. Yet millions of people are trying to build financial freedom without ever writing down a plan. Now let's talk about the third trap, the one that concerns me more than any other: financial illiteracy. Not understanding how money actually works, and in many cases, not making the effort to learn it. Let me say something important. If no one ever taught you about personal finance, that's not your fault. Many Americans graduate from school without ever learning how to budget, invest, manage credit, calculate compound growth, understand taxes, or build long-term wealth. In many underfunded communities, those subjects simply aren't part of the curriculum. As a result, millions of adults are expected to navigate one of the most important parts of life without ever being given the tools to do it confidently. Think about how differently you might approach borrowing money if you fully understood how much interest you'll pay over the life of an auto loan. Imagine realizing that cash sitting in a traditional savings account, earning almost nothing, is quietly losing purchasing power every year because inflation is growing faster than your money. What if someone had explained the advantages of a Roth IRA, an HSA, or low-cost index funds years ago? How much further ahead would you be today? The reality is that no one is going to show up at your front door with a step-by-step guide to building wealth. That responsibility eventually becomes yours. You don't have to stop enjoying life. You don't have to give up every hobby or every weekend with friends. But you do have to make time to learn about the one subject that influences nearly every part of your daily life. Read books about personal finance. Watch educational channels like this one. Attend workshops or webinars. Have honest conversations with your family about money, even if those conversations feel uncomfortable at first. Because the price of staying financially uneducated isn't standing still. The cost grows year after year as missed opportunities, unnecessary debt, and poor financial decisions quietly compound against you.